Hello, 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 everyone. Here we are. It is Sunday. And because it's Sunday, who could you have better on here than Pat Parrott? Yes, we're shining the light on Pat. And we've been looking forward to this. It's a perfect day. It is the 11th of August. I can't believe that either. We already have people piling in. We have Mr. Johnson here. Everyone knows Pat, but she's going to give us a little more history before why, how, when, and what she would like to do with OnPassive. So I'm going to turn it over to Chris, and he can introduce her better than anyone else.
Thank you, Marty. Good morning. I hope you're feeling better. I love you, man. I love you too, Pat, in the background there. I've known Pat for quite a while now. I've watched Pat go through some health issues, some struggles, but yet she keeps a smile on her face. Her faith is extremely strong in God, which is another one. Everyone's faith is pretty strong, but hers is really strong. She does many lives talking about the Lord, talking about a passive, combining them together and showing what good is going to come out of this. And it's going to be a lot of good. So on that note, I want to bring my beautiful sister Pat in. And as soon as she gets all by herself on the screen, I'm going to say, Pat Parent, the floor is yours. As soon as you get center stage, it's all you, sister.
Thank you, Marty and Chris. I am grateful, thankful, and blessed to be here as always. And I have to start with thanking the good Lord. As you always know, that's where he stands in my life. And as I told Chris and Marty, I always start my lives or whatever I do with God's word. So here we go. Let's wake up to a new morning with God in our life. It's Sunday, August 11th. I really want to wish my sister a happy birthday. She's 1 year older than me. So anyways, Susan, if you're listening, happy birthday. And anyone else that's receiving one. So 1 Corinthians 15:36 is really powerful to me. What you sow does not come to life unless it dies. And to me, that is, everyone, my past is the past and the future is the future. But I'm here today. And I thank the good Lord for it. But I want to start out with, instead of talking about myself right now, I read an article on repurposing your broken pieces for fulfillment. The journey of life comes with setbacks, obstacles, and moments of doubt that can leave us feeling broken because we often get unprepared for the unexpected turns that it throws at us. If you look at success and failures more closely, we can see that success and failures are two different coins. And it also seems like for one person, success can be wealth. For another, it can be joy, happiness, peace, love. That's what I feel. So mostly life is about embracing your journey, overcoming challenges, and finding your strength within yourself. And see every challenge as an opportunity for growth. And you know, when I start looking back at my life after reading something like that, I have to start back with our family. I forgot to even say, I'm Pat Parent from Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada. I moved here, our family moved here in 73. I was 13 from Ontario. And those years growing up in Ontario were struggles. They were challenges like we all went through. I've went through physical, mental, sexual, whatever, abuse. But that's the past. I've learned from it. And those broken pieces have made me who I am today. And I have to thank him. behind me because he carries me every day. And growing up in Ontario was beautiful. I loved it there. And most of our family is there. But like I said, there was challenges. But at the age of 7, I remember this specifically. I was at my grandmother's and we went to a church, to a Bible study. And I never followed the Lord before that, only what Grandma had said. And she was a real faith believer. She believed in Jesus. She talked to Jesus every day. I don't know how many times she'd be standing at the stove cooking and be talking to her. And I always said to her, "Who are you talking to?" And she would say, "I'm talking to Jesus." "Well, who's Jesus?" I'd say. And she'd say, "It's the Lord." And I never went on anymore. I didn't carry on. She was making tapioca pudding for us, which we love. And Grandma is the only one that I know of that can make tapioca pudding like she does. So Grandma, thank you. May you rest in perfect peace, as I know you are with the Lord. But that day that we went to that Bible study and church, I'm listening to the pastor talk. And he, at the end of the service, he said, "Is there anyone in here that wants to receive Jesus?" Oh, right away I looked at Grandma and said, "Grandma, can I go?" She says, "Patty, go ahead. If this is what you choose, go ahead." So I went running up there, and I don't remember it all, but I do remember what he said. Jesus and God and the Holy Spirit will never leave you or forsake you. Those words are so true in my life today. Even if it was unforeseen and didn't know what it was back then, I sure do today. And I am so grateful, thankful, and blessed that through the years of my trials and tribulations of growing up and being an adult and being married, which I'll go into a little bit, I have Jesus today. So when we put those broken pieces together, like I'm writing my autobiography, so you'll have to read that more, because this isn't the program to share it all out. Excuse me, but I will share a little bit of growing up, what I did. So as growing up, I, like I said, I found Jesus, and then went on, and we had many wonderful days of playing as kids, and we lived on farms, and we had big orchards, which we thought were huge, many acres of apples and plums and huge gardens. And so that's where I believe I got my seeds for growing gardens and stuff, was through my parents. But my parents also were entrepreneurs. My dad had a trucking business. My mom was always into restaurants, always cooked. Dad drove from coast to coast in Canada. Animals, whatever type there was. But I remember being on the one farm, and we had chickens and pigs and horses. And yes, Lori Lund, we had a horse, but I wasn't too sure about it, because when, you know how brothers are, they can be mean once in a while. So the first time I ever got on a horse, he whacked the horse on the butt, and I went flying. So that was the last time, Lori. Sorry, I don't think I'll ever get on another horse. But anyways, those are just kids' times, right? We had times where we went on the skidoo, and what we called a skimmer that was hooked behind it. We got to pick our own Christmas trees. It was beautiful. But there was those days that you wished you weren't alive. When we had struggles, when we had abuse that was related to physical, mental, and sexual. But you know what? I've learned to forgive. I had to confront to be able to live on. I went through lots of counseling, which is awesome. I wrote many journals on it. And I have to really thank a minister that helped me through it. She was my counselor years later, and she said, write it all out. And this is one thing I can really suggest for everybody that's going through any of that. And I'm hoping I can be an inspiration today to help anyone that is struggling with any type of abuse. They can go write it all out. And what she taught me was, we went through it page by page, but as we did it, we burnt each page, because that means you're letting go of the past, letting go of things. And that was a big lesson for me. So later in life, those are challenges that always came up. But as I grew up, I left home at 16. When I got my license, I went out and got a job in a restaurant. Of course, a restaurant, right? Because we had those growing up. And then, oh, I should have said, sorry, I forgot. We moved out here when I was 13, and we moved to Arcola, Saskatchewan. And that was just a little town here. And we didn't wear jeans back in Ontario. So when we started school, our mother decided we should have a pair of jeans. I can remember the very first pair was, you know, those wide bell bottoms. That was in style. But what did we get? We got the very tight legs. So they were not something that was in style. But that's what we could afford. That's what we did. Because before that, my mother sewed all the clothing. We had hand-me-downs, always. Until my sisters and them got bigger than me. Then I got to get the new pair. Because they all had bigger feet and they were bigger than me. And that was a blessing for me. But that was okay. I remember going to school and being picked on. Because of not fitting in, being from a different place. But you know what? You quickly learn to try and fit in. But boy, did I fit in the wrong crowd sometimes. I think we all have been through that. So, make it short, you'll have to read my autobiography when it comes out. But I moved on at 16, got a job like everyone else does. But I started in a restaurant in Estevan, Saskatchewan. And I'm like this with the family still today. Because they have brought me through struggles. They helped me get my first car. Wow. A Nova, 72 or 73 Nova, brown. Had a little wee steering wheel. It was beautiful. I thought I was in heaven. But you know what? I didn't know how to run a stick shift, but determination gets you there, and I did learn to run because he took me out. My boss took me out, and I'll never forget it. Never. I'll be so grateful. Rest your soul, George. And Helen, keep going. I know you're in your 90s, and I love you, sister. So then life moved on. As I was in school, at the same time, I worked 3 jobs. I worked at 2 restaurants and a taxi place. But I also wanted to get an education because none of our family, none of my siblings got their grade 12. So I went to upgrading. I got my grade 9, 10, 11, and then it got to the point I couldn't continue. I couldn't keep affording that extra time to go to school. So I wrote my GED. because I knew that to further my education, I needed a grade 12 of some type to go into another trade or whatever I wished to do. And that's what I did. So after a few years, I got married. I thought it was my dream. It was my dream to have that little white picket fence around me, have children, to escape. Because I still didn't learn inside, but that's okay. I got married. I have 3 beautiful children and now 2 beautiful grandchildren, and I am grateful, thankful, and blessed for them. We've went through our trials and tribulations like everyone else, but they're always in my heart no matter what, even if they don't think so today, because families go through troubles. But with him, I know he carries me through. So after being married for 5 years, my husband was an alcoholic, and we had our trials and tribulations, and it didn't work. So we ended up getting divorced, and then I was on my own with the children for a few years. And then my children, 2 of them, decided they wanted to live with their dad. That was heartbreaking. But I had to realize maybe it was the best solution because I wasn't fully capable. I worked, yeah, but here it all begins with a mindset. The heart was totally in it, but the mindset totally wasn't because of things that you've gone through. So when you pick up those broken pieces and you move on, I did. I moved on. I got another job. I end up going to work for my sister. And this is where I learned about hairdressing. And I'm grateful for that because she had taught me how to cut hair, roll hair, perm hair, color hair before I even went to school. So then I decided I was going to go get my course so I could have my children at home with me again. Because I could give them the things that they wanted. So when I went to Moose Jaw, to Artistic Beauty College, I found another struggle. But my teacher was amazing. And the reason I say this because I have a learning disability. Didn't know it at the time. It's a dyslexia. So when I read things, I don't understand them all the time or I read them backwards. But you know what? She seen something in me that I wasn't sure of. So as we were studying, remember those little cassettes that you could record on? That's exactly what Mrs. Guza did for me. She recorded each lesson, broke it down so I could hear it. And you know, this is funny because this is why I talked to Mr. Ash about audios, so I can hear, because when I read, I have struggles. But when I hear or do, I'm okay. So I end up graduating with honors, with the blessings from her, with 98.9 average. I was an honor student. I was on the honor professional roll from one of the beauty companies. I was amazed. I was so blessed to have been able to have a teacher like that. And you know, with technology, the way it's changed, we have to be grateful, thankful, and blessed to Mr. Ashmafara for what he's doing. So I went back and did my hairdressing. I had my own salon. I ended up getting married again. Didn't work out, folks. So since 2020, this lady, is single, but never alone. Because in May 8th, 2020, I received the real Jesus that I know in my heart today. And I am so grateful, thankful, and blessed. Because I have realized now, everything in the past was a true blessing. Because it made me who I am today. So now let's talk about OnPassive. Excuse me. Oh, I had a cleaning business too in there, but you can read that in the book because we're time short here. I want to talk about OnPassive. I joined OnPassive in February 2019. And I really have to thank my brother, my friend, Stuart Clark from the UK. I met Stuart in another business on another site. And when he introduced me to OnPassive, it was GoFounders back then. And he not only introduced me to GoFounders, he was a brother that prayed with me, stood with me, blessed me each and every day since. So when we stop and think about our true blessings, it came from Mr. Ashmafara, because if he wouldn't have started it, I wouldn't have got to know Stuart. You wouldn't have got to know anyone else. I wouldn't know anyone here. So when I stop and think about what OnPassive has done for me and many around the globe, it brought us friendship, it brought us family, it's brought us blessings beyond what we can even imagine. And then there's things that we've went through with OnPassive. All the joys of Burj Khalifa, the World Cups, Bean Sports, Egypt, all these exciting moments. We have to really realize what OnPassive has brought to us. Mr. Ashmafara has done this. And when he says do or die, that's why I believe what you sow does not come to life unless it dies. You know, when I see that and I think about OnPassive and what Mr. Ashmafara is doing, he does it each and every day. He plants those seeds. He builds the company. It's never ending, but he lets whatever happened die. So that's do or die daily because of the struggles that he goes through each and every day. And we need to be grateful, thankful, and blessed each and every day for everything he is doing. Because technology, like I said, from cassettes to what we have now with OnPassive and what's coming, if you're not excited, you better give your head a shake. That's what I believe. And I believe that things are so massive that people don't even realize it. They don't have the true understanding of what's there and how it's going to come to bless them. But I sure do, because I look beyond what's imaginable, because I get visions. And this throws me back to a surgery I went through. Sorry, Chris and them, I'm going to take a little extra today. I went through a surgery for bowel. By the way, I've went through 20 surgeries, but I won't go into all those neither, because they're blessings along the way that you learn from. But this one particular surgery that I went through was a bowel obstruction. I spent 21 days in the hospital. And when I went for that surgery, I didn't know if I was going to make it or not, because I had died before they brought me back. So in the surgery, I had left my body, I believe is what happened. I call it a true vision. I seen the big, huge light, just like looking up at the sun. But there was a sign. I seen God's hand, Jesus' hand, and he said, it's not your time. I have a purpose. I have a meaning for your life. And I didn't know at that time what it meant. But you know what? I sure do today. because my purpose, my meaning has been brought out through what OnPassive and Mr. Ash has given us, but also through the family that I have met across the globe. Because if it wasn't for OnPassive, I wouldn't know Sajib Manur in Bangladesh. I wouldn't know Rupa Paul. I wouldn't know Gershminder in Canada. I wouldn't know Diane Lennon. I wouldn't know Gemma. I wouldn't know Chris and Marty. I wouldn't have an angel, Julie Wen, that just knows when to call me at the right time. I did know my sister Judy Reese, and I have to give her a shout out because I am so grateful that she is here in Regina. But I didn't know Gemma and Listra. I didn't know Robin. I didn't know Michael Williams. I didn't know Dan and Jeffrey and Mike Ellis. There's so many that I didn't know. But I will tell you, when I went through some kidney trouble and they put a neurotomy tube in, my dear brother, Sajib Manur from Bangladesh, gave me a personal call. And this is what OnPassive has given me. And I'm sure it's given you stories like this too. He phoned me personally and he said, Pat, this makes me tear up. He says, I will give you my kidney if that's what you need. Who does that? Who does that? There's so many people on kidney waiting lists that wait for years and sometimes don't make it. And here at OnPassive, I had a brother that offered a kidney. I was in tears. I said, Noah, Sajib, I don't need a kidney, but thank you, thank you, thank you. But you know what? I know he stands with us. I know he stands and loves me. And that's what counts in OnPassive. What you have and how the blessings are going to come always. Because OnPassive is built with heart. With heart, folks. And if you can't see it, you're in the wrong place. But I know I'm in the right place at the right time. And I am so grateful, thankful, and blessed every day with OnPassive. And that's just a couple of the stories. You know, I have a book here. It's called Rejected and Accepted. And my dear brother, Stuart Clark, yes, my sponsor, wrote this. And I want to read something from it that is really important. There is a word or saying in his word that when you find it and keep it by hearing it and seeing it and pondering it on a day, a night, to establish the word of your heart, to believe it, it's God's promise, guaranteed to heal your specific need for your soul and your body. But you know what? Those words, as I always do, relate God's words to. We can see it. We can ponder it. We can hear it. We believe it is OnPassive. This is our CEO, Mr. Ash Mafara. It's God-driven, and I believe this each and every day. So the fruitation is planting the seed, one seed at a time, 1 second at a time, and we will expect a harvest when it's ready, when it's God's time, God's plan, because Mr. Ash Mafara will only release it when everything is ready and not before. Do not expect things before they're ready. Keep the love, keep the heart, keep AI with heart going with all your might. And I'm speaking to each and every one around the world. If you're an OnPassive pioneer, stop the criticism, stop the negative. Remember what Mr. Ashmafar is doing. It's to bless you and your family, to bless me and my family, to leave a legacy for generations. Who does that? Never heard of it before in my life, but I am so grateful, thankful, and blessed each and every day for it. Even with this, we need to be blessed because, yes, you may breathe each day with fresh air. I get mine provided by a machine, but I am still grateful. I will still shine my heart as much as possible. And I do have to let you know, I'm going to be open and honest with you right now. I asked Chris, Marty, if I could do this today, because next week, for a few weeks, I will not be around to be doing lives. I'm going through some reconstruction in my mouth. So you will not see me without any teeth. I'm sorry. They're not the best now, but you won't see me doing that. I might have to do an audio. But you know what? That Texas smile that Mr. Ashmafar wears, that has always been a passion of mine. So that's one of the first things I'm going to do for myself is to continue with that. But you know what? OnPassive is allowing me to dream bigger, to bring more hope to the world, to bring more hope to my city, to my province. Because I have dreams and visions of blessing with opportunities of building village just outside of Regina, Saskatchewan. And I really want to thank Dave Rolanski, for my brother, for building these projects with me. And we're joining forces. But we will bring the communities into them, bring the founders into them, because it's not an I can do, it's a we. And when we have that we attitude, it changes lives. Because I can only change me and maybe one or two. But when we have that we can change the world. But I have a building here that I really want to work on too, because it needs repairs. And there's a lot of people that live here, like myself, that are less fortunate. You know, they're struggling each and every day. They have addictions. So if we can put in here entertainment, because they don't have anything now. It's went from having lots to having nothing. So it needs air conditioning put in, because some days it's like 90 some in here. It needs, what do you call that when you purify the air so it circulates? It needs that. It needs many, many upgrades. And this houses, I believe it's 152 suites. Don't quote me on that. So that's 152 people that I can change. We can change as a project. And it's already here. So when we all stand together and work together, these are the things that we can change in our own country, in our own city. Because Mr. Ash always says, start with yourself and your family and go from there. But I also believe a smile goes a long way, a listening ear, an opening door, a meal to someone can change someone's life for that day. So let's all stand together, walk together, and pray together. Because I always say, we start here, we end here, but we're here today. And OnPassive is here to stay. Thank you, Marty and Chris. I am grateful, thankful, and blessed to be here. I hope I didn't go over. I know you were trying to watch the time, and me too, but I don't even know what time it is. So thank you, brothers. I am loving. Oh, I forgot to say something. This is very important. OnPassive, Marty DeGarmo blessed me with a position, another account, so that I can bless others through that. So Marty, as you know, that account is for a blessing wherever it is needed. Thank you, and I love you both, brothers.
Fantastic job. Everybody's listening. Comments are going crazy. Pat, I'm so glad you could come today.
Me
Probably
too.
a big day for you. You did a great job. You covered everything, and everybody knows who you are. I'll make some mini clips out of this also.
With the barking dog, Marty?
A leaf fell off a tree, whatever.
Oh,
Anyway,
Marty, I forgot.
What?
I forgot. When we talked before, Chris did something and you told me to do it. Hey, freaky! I forgot to do that. Oh yeah.
Oh my God, she did that better than you, Chris. No joke.
Wonderful, Pat.
We always
Love
have
your
to
faith.
end on laughter.
Yeah, I love your faith. As you can hear, Pat's gone through a lot of struggles in her life, but it hasn't knocked her down. She keeps getting up and moving forward. And I absolutely love that, because a lot of people fail the first time and they run in the corner and they hide and they quit. You just keep going. Perfect example of a founder, Pat. We thank you for being on here. Like I said, good luck with your reconstruction. And I'm glad you told us that, because then I'd be wondering, where did Pat go? So thank you for that. We're going to say prayers about that, and everything is going to be beautiful. Thank you, Pat Parent.
I'm going
Say
to have
goodbye,
a smile of
everybody.
Texas.
Oh, heroes.
Oh, yes.
Heroes at 2:00. Heroes at 2:00.
That's why Marty pays me the big bucks.
The Top.Live. Anyway, see you all.
Love you.
Bye-bye.